Nico Steves here. This episode considers the first approved apparition in the United States, Our Lady of Good Help. The only apparition site in the United States that has been approved where the Virgin Mary visited a young woman happened in Champion, Wisconsin. The official recognition of this apparition, called Our Lady of Good Help, was granted not that long ago. It was December 8th, 2010, just 160 years from when the actual meetings between the Virgin Mary and the seer took place. This relatively recent recognition is a miracle in itself, since apparently knowledge about the meetings were mainly remembered through local legend within this close-knit area of Belgian communities in the farming and logging areas around the Upper Peninsula of Wisconsin's Green Bay. What happened is that the Virgin Mary appeared 3 times to 28-year-old Belgian immigrant Adele Brice in the year 1859. The first meeting occurred while Adele was heading to the church some distance away, though some say she was doing a chore for her family that day. Either way, on this first encounter, she had been walking alone en route through a heavily forested area when suddenly she spotted a woman dressed all in white with a yellow sash around her waist and a crown of stars above her hair. Though their eyes met, no words were spoken, and the Madonna disappeared, leaving a cloud of mist at 2 trees she had been standing between. Adele was afraid and dutifully reported this occurrence to her parents. Her parents worried and speculated that perhaps the person she saw was in need of help. The following Sunday, October 16, 1859, Adele and her sister and a neighbor were walking on the same path for Sunday church. This time, a second apparition of the Virgin Mary appeared at the same spot between this hemlock tree and maple tree. Adele started crying and fretting about that woman. However, neither her sister nor the neighbor could see anybody or anything unusual, but they both believed Adele had seen something to make her so preoccupied. Once at church, she told her pastor about what had happened, and the priest suggested Adele ask the stranger what she wanted of her. While walking back home after church, the women came up to the same trees, and Adele could once again see the Madonna apparate at the same spot. And also this time, once again, the other 2 did not see anything or anybody. But Adele asked, "What do you want of me?" The Virgin Mary identified herself as the Queen of Heaven and told Adele, "Gather the children in this wild country and teach them what they should know about salvation." Adele grew worried and let the Virgin know that she did not feel she had enough information for teaching anybody anything. The Madonna responded by telling her to, quote, "teach them their catechisms, how to sign themselves with the sign of the cross, and how to approach the sacraments. That is what I wish you to do." Among some of the other things she told Adele, one was that she would always protect and provide for Adele. Then the Madonna faded away. Adele then knelt down and made the sign of the cross. Her sister and the neighbor followed suit, though still seeing nothing. From that time of the last meeting until she passed away almost 40 years later, Adele made it her life's work to do as the Virgin Mary had asked of her. One account states that though Adele's face on one side had been disfigured following an accident with lye during her childhood, Adele won people over as she was charming and friendly towards people, young and old. Initially, she started going door to door to farms in the area, asking if she could be of help, and offering to teach their children the catechisms and how to make the sign of the cross, plus encouraging families to attend church. Eventually, people came to her at the spot of the apparitions. A series of modest chapels were built at the site. Soon a community of sisters gathered, known as the Sisters of Good Help, under Adele's leadership. In 1858, a school building was erected called St. Mary's Academy. The support for the boarding school relied on the generosity of those she met. Sometimes she went begging for what was needed. It's said that she lived her life with joy, with humility and abandonment to God's providence and reliance on the intercessions of the Virgin Mary. She made great sacrifices and dedicated her life to prayer, the conversion of sinners, and teaching religion to children. An amazing miracle occurred on the night of October 8, 1871, 12 years later to the day of her first apparition. It occurred and was documented by many people at the time. It was not another appearance of the Virgin Mary, but took place when a wildfire, one of the largest in the history of the United States, took place and killed well over 2,000 people in its path and destroyed over 1 million acres of forest and at least 10 communities in its path. As the tremendous fire began coming towards the chapel area that had grown by now to almost 5 acres and was surrounded by a fence, Adele refused to leave the grounds. Farmers in the immediate area were unable to escape the rapid inferno that was now surrounding them. They all went to the chapel with their families. Adele, the farmers, other sisters, children, all prayed in the chapel to the Madonna for protection. Then they processed behind Adele around the grounds with a statue of the Madonna as the fire reached but did not burn down any of the surrounding fence. A rainstorm prevented the fire from this one piece of turf. Everywhere else, however, lay burnt in ruins. A miraculous occurrence that started pilgrimages to this sacred ground that occur to this day. A report just following Adele's death in 1896 from the official website of the shrine of OurLadyOfGoodHelp.com mentions that an accounting for the assets at the shrine included, quote, 2 sisters, 20 children, and 42 cents, unquote. I'd say that was a pretty good accounting for good Sister Adele. This is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title, The Very Fine Light, on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.